something that Democrats have needed to do a lot better is build a bench and making sure that we're building a bench early and often, and that we're teaching people how to run campaigns, teaching people about what does it mean to protect democracy, and actually giving them the tools to do it, not just read it in a textbook, but actually win the campaigns in real life. And this program, Democracy Summer, that Representative Raskin started years ago, does that very thing. But it's not like Jamie just started the program and is doing it by himself. He spread it out across the caucus to get more members of Congress to use their own campaign resources to knock doors year round. And so this program doesn't just go on the on year of the election, right? But it happens on the off year as well. And the whole point of this is like, look, when I was elected, it was a big deal. It was a big surprise because I'm young. It shouldn't be a surprise that young people get elected because we do it so often. But part of the reason we don't do it often is because we don't have that bench that we need to build out. And Democracy Summer is changing that every single summer.
It strikes me, Congressman Raskin, that here you are engaged in Democracy Summer at the same time that Republicans are having you and Congressman Frost take a vote on the Save America Act, that there are real counter forces that are occurring in this moment, one trying to pull us toward democracy, one trying to pull us away.
Yeah, I mean, Tocqueville said that in Democracy in America, he said democracy and voting rights are either expanding and growing or they're shrinking and shriveling away. And obviously, the Republican Party is based totally on voter suppression, gerrymandering, disenfranchisement at this point. We got to move in the other direction. And that's what Democracy Summer is all about. We've got this amazing curriculum. We've got, Heather Cox Richardson, who comes in, Larry Tribe, Tim Snyder, Benny Thompson, Nancy Pelosi, you name it. Nobody's ever said no to us in terms of appearing before the young people. And we talk about the civilizing movements of America that have opened our democracy up. But then we're talking with people like Mark Elias about the struggle today to vindicate the right to vote, to try to take down all the barriers that the Republicans are putting up to participation. So it's an amazing experience for the young people. One kid wrote on his evaluation when it was over, he said, in this program, you get to not only change your life, you get to change the country at the same time. And it's true. So what Maxwell says is right. We've organized 3,500 over the last several years. We went national in 2021. We want 2,000 this summer or more, and we're just kicking off opening up the applications this week.
I am also a seasoned chicken, but I would have loved hanging out with my fellow nerds, Michael Steele, for Democracy.
I was going to say, Congressman, don't worry. Us seasoned chickens have to, keep on clucking, baby, because that's what we do. These youngins still need to know where they go, where to go, and how to get there. You may come out of the egg, baby. You still need some direction. That's
right, enough. The metaphors we've lost.
I could go on for hours. And
is this how you could recruit all those Republicans?
Well,
because you did the pipeline program.
Well, I was going to say what this reminds me of, and I have to say a little bit about time, is the Young Guns program that was started back in 2009 and 2010 that gave us Paul Ryan and Eric Cantor and Kevin McCarthy back in the day as that next generation of young Republicans that were going to come over and take in. Paul Ryan did become Speaker of the House. Now, we can talk about all the service and how that eventually played out. There is this little thing called governing once you get in the game. And so part of what I'm curious about you're doing, particularly Representative Frost, from your perspective, is helping the next generation really understand the institution and to really get some control over the grip of the institution, because a lot happens when, it's very different to run a campaign. It's a whole other thing to win. But then it's something even more different to govern. And that's the piece where the Young Guns on the Republican side fell apart, because all that vision, all that vim and vigor and fervor dissipated and became squashed by an establishment that liked the idea, but didn't really want the consequences that come with having the next generation take over and lead.
No, 100%. I mean, and this is part of the reason why this program is very special. It's not just a fellowship or internship where we're saying, go do this job. We'll see you later, right? It's half and half. They spend half their time online with other students from across the entire country, learning about the institutions, learning about the flaws of the institution, but not just being spoken at, being challenged to think about what would you change? What do you want to have? What impact do you want to have on this country? That's one half of the program. The other half of the program is in person with their in-person cohort, going out and actually knocking doors and hearing from people in their own community about what they care about and working to win a campaign. And I think the marriage of those two things is really special, because it's not like you're just online or you're just in person. You're doing both at the same time. You're learning about an entrenched institution that maybe you have a lot of opinions on of your own, while at the same time speaking with the people in your community who are impacted by this on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's part of what makes Democracy Summer really special. I remember, when I got my first field organizer gig for the coordinated campaign here in Florida, I got kind of paradropped into another city, that's how it happens all across the country. And I remember getting there and hearing a lot from local folks who have been organizing there for a while saying, it's cool you're here, Maxwell, but like you kind of just came in, right? And the purpose of this program too is knowing we have homegrown talent across the entire country. What if instead of just throwing people in random cities 3 months before an election, we work at fostering and growing organizers locally year round? That's the difference between a transactional campaign and a transformational one. And that's what Democracy Summer is about. We're trying to grow this talent for the future campaigns, future campaign managers, organizing directors, so they have that knowledge of the institution, but also have done the campaigning themselves as well.
This kind of infrastructure building work, I think, is why the president is trying to steal the next election. And he's trying to do it in many different ways. His executive order, Congressman Raskin, on about election security, installing known election deniers into positions in the Department of Homeland Security, saying that the Department of Homeland Security, suggesting that they have some control over and some oversight over our elections, and obviously what's currently happening with the SAVE Act. The president and the current Republican Party apparatus, they know, because they read the polls. The president sees the headlines. He's raging and complaining and whining about them at the White House. He knows that what he's doing is unpopular. And they're not looking to kind of change what they do to earn people's votes. They want to rig the system. And so what is the plan in the advance of and for that kind of education in Democracy Summer, but also from congressional Democrats' perspective? All the headlines say you all are about to take back the House.
Well, you got it. I mean, their numbers are absolutely collapsing. The tariffs were a nightmare. The war is a disaster. They've got no program for the country other than disenfranchisement, voter suppression, the SAVE Act, which I think violates the 19th Amendment when you tell American women you bring your driver's license and you bring your birth certificate, and if they don't match, which they won't for 69 million American women, then you need to bring a passport. And half of the people don't have passports, So, just go out and buy an ID. That's a poll tax, So that's the road they're headed down. And we're aware of it. We're educating young people about it. They're learning from not just our political organizers and our leaders, but from lawyers that are involved in this. And we're able to fight back. Look, we started this program. Our first speakers were Bob Moses and John Lewis. And John Lewis, may he rest in peace, appeared every year in Democracy Summer until he died to talk about that linkage. Because what was Freedom Summer? It was young people going to the scene of the crime where Jim Crow apartheid was taking place and confronting it. And right now, the scene of the crime is everywhere as they try to attack democracy and voting rights. We're training these young people to build a landslide so big they won't dare try and steal it, but also how to defend the right to vote at every level, federal, state, county, municipal, at your polling place. That's part of what they're learning about.